So I know it doesn't seem believable, I know it probably hasn't sunk in yet for most of you guys, but the Cleveland Browns, in Cleveland Browns fashion, beat a Super Bowl contender this week in the Green Bay Packers. It was one of the most wild games that I have ever seen, ever watched, and it really reminded me a few years ago of the win over the 49ers. It was a lot like it. It was sloppy, low scoring, the defense dominated, and basically the Browns just waited for the Packers to make a big mistake, and I'm not sure what Jordan Love was doing, but he pretty much handed the defense over the ball. They returned it to about the 5-yard line, and finally they punched the ball in the end zone. Big thanks to Quinshon Judkins. This was a very rough game for the offense. I'm going to talk about some of the bad because there definitely was a lot of things that the Browns need to improve on, and I know they won't, but we just need to be positive. We need to just appreciate this win because I don't think there's going to be a lot of winning this season, and I hope they don't win a lot of games because I want those 2 top 5 picks. But today was a big step in the right direction. It's going to create a lot of momentum, and realistically the Browns should be 2-1 right now. There is no reason why they should have lost that Bengals game. Joe Flacco set the team up to win that game, but the receivers just could not catch wide open passes. It is what it is. The Browns are now 1-2. This was a big win, and I want to talk all about it. But first off, I would really appreciate it if you would do me a big favor and hit that like and subscribe button. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind, and your support truly means the world. We are on the road to 60,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so the Cleveland Browns won this game over the Green Bay Packers 13-10. Yes, you're hearing that right. They won against the Green Bay Packers 13-10. I know that Packers fans are beside themselves right now, and they can't believe that Jordan Love really handed the Browns this game, but you got to give big credit to the Browns defense. They've been so good all year, and finally the offense didn't torment them enough to where they could lose the game. Obviously the offense didn't provide any help, but they didn't turn the ball over, and they didn't really leave the Browns defense in a spot where they had to be on the field in the red zone multiple times, and it was just a crazy game overall. It was raining by the end, I believe, and it was just one of those sloppy games where it felt like something big was going to happen, and finally in the fourth quarter, the Browns defense made a huge play, and then the Browns tied it up with Quinshon Judkins, and then Schmidt redeemed himself with a 55-yarder to win the game. Again, this definitely was an ugly win. The Browns just could not move the football down the field at all for the entire first 3 quarters. Really, in the fourth quarter, they couldn't either. The defense just bailed them out. As I said, Myles Garrett was just incredible. The whole defensive line was incredible. Big shout out to Jim Schwartz for his schemes and just putting this all together, because this is going to be a brutal year for the Browns, and they're kind of the light in, I don't want to say light in the darkness, that's corny, but you know what I'm trying to say. They're the only thing that is holding this team together. If the Browns didn't have this defense, they could be a 0-17 team. But the Browns do have this defense. They have one of the best defenses, arguably the best defense overall in the league from top to bottom. The secondary with Denzel Ward, man, he is just amazing. You got the defensive line, as I just mentioned, and there's guys in the secondary who really stepped up. Carson Schlesinger, he was amazing in this game. But yeah, the Browns could not move the football down the field to save their lives. They got bailed out by a few penalties. I don't think Joe Flacco has that many more games left in him, and I hate that the Browns did this to him, where we really as Browns fans should only have positive memories of Joe Flacco because of what he did in 2023, but like the Guardians did this season with Carlos Santana, it's just, he's too old, man. They shouldn't even put him in this position in the first place. I don't know why Flacco did it to himself, and I really don't want to have any bad memories of Joe Flacco because he really helped this organization out when they needed him the most back in 2023, finishing off the amazing run and making it to the wild card game. But unfortunately, they put him out there. He's 40 years old. He's not mobile. I mean, he's not terrible. Like, he was very serviceable in the Bengals game, but that Ravens game was brutal. Today was just almost unwatchable in terms of the offense, and I'm just not sure how much more Joe Flacco I want to watch moving forward as the season goes on. But at the same time, you don't want to throw out one of your rookies and ruin them either. Dillon Gabriel, shedeur Sanders. Obviously, I know most of the fan base wants to see them out on the field, but it's only week 4, and the Browns did just beat the Packers, so I don't think you push the panic button yet. I think you give it a few more weeks. I don't expect the Browns to really do anything against the Lions. I don't think they're going to repeat what they did today. But you never know with this defense. This defense really can keep them in any game. Now, looking at some of the stats from this game, Joe Flacco, he was 21 of 36 for 142 yards with an interception, a rating of 55.6. So not his best game, not his worst game. He was kind of just there. He kind of just existed. I hated the play calling in the red zone. I thought he could have at least had a touchdown. Kevin Stefanski really overcomplicates things, and then there was the chop block. I pretty much turned the TV off, and I'll be honest, I turned the TV off and switched over to the guards, but they didn't look good today either. But again, it's unrealistic for them to win every game. They've won 10 straight. They've been amazing. But that's besides the point. The Browns offense was abysmal, but they did finally punch it in after the turnover to tie the game up at 10, and then the rest was history. Quinshon Judkins, he rushed for 94 yards with a touchdown on 18 attempts with a 5.2 yards per carry average, which that's really solid. If he can do that all season long, then he is well on his way to being the full-time RB1 for this team. In terms of the receivers, David Njoku, I know he's a tight end, but he led the way with 5 receptions for 40 yards. Cedric Tillman, he had 26 yards on 3 receptions, and then Harold Fannin Jr., he had 25 yards off 3 receptions. Judy only had 1 catch for 17 yards. He needs to step up. He needs to be better than that. I know he was kind of getting double teamed, and every opposing secondary is really going to focus on him because he's one of the only big name receivers that the Browns have. Isaiah Bond had 16 yards, 2 receptions. Ford actually had 4 receptions for 10 yards. So overall, I thought the Browns receivers, they were okay. I mean, nothing special. Obviously, the Browns offense just struggled to get anything going. But we do got to give credit to the Packers defense because they're top 5 in the NFL as well. But the Browns receiving corps definitely needs to step up if the Browns want to win 5 or 6 games this year. But again, I think that would be pretty stupid of them. I hope they only win 3 because I want those top 5 picks. I think it's either you make a playoff push or you win 2 games. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I would be fine with the season ending right now. Win this Packers game and then lose out the rest of the way. Get the first pick. This was the signature win. This is really all we needed to see as Browns fans because this really is a recovery year after the Watson stuff. I'm fine with the Browns losing. I know it sucks, but it's kind of what needs to happen. And I know it's a hot take. You guys aren't going to agree with it. And obviously in the NFL, you want to win every game you can, but it would be such a Browns type of thing to win 6 games and be stuck with like the 10th pick or something like that. That would really set them back even further than they already are. But yeah, overall, this was just an amazing team win. Carson Schlesinger led the way in tackles for the defense with 7. He also had a sack. Myles Garrett had a half sack. He is just, I think he's on his way to winning Defensive Player of the Year once again. There's just so many guys contributed throughout. I hate that Newsome cramped up. I don't know why there's been so much cramping this year, but overall the secondary has been solid, and that's kind of just my rundown of the game. Let me know what you guys thought. I know I'm kind of just talking in circles and rambling, but I'm just stunned, man. I cannot believe the Browns won this game. This is not the type of game that the Browns win. This was one of those where even Packers fans in the stadium, you could tell that even after that pick 6, well, it wasn't a pick 6, but it basically was. Even after that moment, the Packers in 2 plays drove down the field and got into field goal range, and there was a fumble that Josh Jacobs got back. You could tell that they knew they were going to win, but then all of a sudden, things changed. The blocked field goal, the momentum turned around, and the Browns just, I don't know how they did it, but they got it done, and that was definitely a signature win, and it's something to really hang your hat on, and it can create a lot of momentum moving forward. That's really all I got for this video. Let me know again in the comments below what you thought about this game, and here's what some of the key players had to say in their post-game interviews about the win.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, we talked about it. I mean, today was like a day full of like situations like that we can talk about forever, just like that, and he got his chance like a couple times there. Hit 2 field goals for us down the edge, down the end, an extra point. You never know when you're going to get your chance, and you have to be ready to respond again.
So yeah, once again, that's all I got for this one. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point. Please be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And until next time, I will see you all later.